Hello, hello. We're back again on Wednesday with another episode of Umineko, Dawn of the Golden Witch. I'm just double checking that I put that in the title. Yes, I did. Wonderful. Hello, Kat. How are you doing? How's your evening going? Before we start, as always, I'm gonna do things in the right order this week. We start with a content warning. Content warning for Erica, because she's a terrible character who will do terrible things. Character deaths, detailed descriptions of gore and body horror, child abuse, discussions and mentions of suicide, and misogyny. You came prepared with notes from the first game. Amazing. I look forward to seeing what kind of theories you come up with. Alright, I will kick off the game so we have a little bit of something to look at instead of a black screen. Also, please note this is going to be a little bit of a scuffed stream because, my second monitor broke. I'm doing all of this on one screen, and I have a lot of windows open. So there may be some, confusion here and there. So, please bear with me. I will get this sorted as soon as possible. Likely next week. I have promised that I will buy a new monitor instead of not doing that. So now I have to commit to it, you know? I will also skip the intro, as always. But yeah, I'm gonna have to make the chat really tiny. But it looks like it'll all fit. Yeah, that looks good. You think you have a better idea of things? Alright, that sounds good. I'll be honest, normally I would just do without for a while if I didn't, like, immediately get a new one. Yeah, I would just live the single monitor life for a couple months. And just complain the whole time because that's all, yeah. Yeah, that's just who I am as a person. Alright. So, this is also going to be a little bit of a short episode compared to normal, because I have to be up early for a meeting. However, you know, trying to keep the intro short for once. Let's start off with a recap from what happened last time, which is Erica and Maria had a witch battle, a standoff about not only like the nature of a specific magic trick, but the nature of magic as a whole, which was very interesting. Erica kind of sort of won, mostly because it's like playing chess with a child and then you flip the chessboard in the sense that you throw it. That's what Erica did. Like, yes, technically she won, but you know, at what cost? On top of that, we also made a great deal of fun of George for being, as the kids say, a fuckboy, and bringing us some very, very intense incel energy. But despite being a child at the time that he was having those emotions and feelings about women that were very hard to read, let me just put it that way, in the sense that I genuinely broke character just to laugh at him. And finally, because there are a lot of plot threads, different ones interwoven throughout this episode, we had Chick Beatrice, as she's now called, and the legendary witch Beatrice go on their journey to figure out, you know, who are we, where do we come from, how do we come to be, and how do we become the Beatrice that we've seen in the game so far. And they don't know yet, but they're gonna find out. I'm also gonna grab my phone so I can read the chat properly. Because Kat, I can't see what you're typing at me right now. Oops, because this is switch, you're also going to hear the stream I was watching before. But that's sorted now. Ugh. Twitch, how do I get into the chat? Twitch, please. Please, how do I... Okay. I got it. I got it. I'm too old for technology. George definitely has his own subreddit, so no, that's not nonsense, that's just you telling the truth. He absolutely 100% has his own subreddit, and oof, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. Anyway, yeah. We are back. I don't want to be a bright, young, vibrant Ushiromiyas. That means I'm dead. I also fucked up my blinking a little, apparently. That's okay. No one's gonna notice. Just don't tell anyone, it'll be fine. It's either like always have my eyes closed on here or never blink. There's no in between. I don't know why. Alright. I'm just gonna start reading. Like I always do on Wednesdays. The eerie sound of the wind and rain. Once again, I hazily regained consciousness on top of the bed. The finger that the witch had bitten off was still attached. I didn't say it was all an illusion, just that it was still attached. After all, the pain and the teeth marks as though a witch had bitten it were still there. And yet the window, which I had supposedly smashed, had been fixed as though it had never been broken in the first place. How can I escape this creepy room? Why am I locked up in this eerie room all alone? I want to get out. I have to get out. Let me out of here. The door was sealed with a firm chain. I could open it a crack, but only enough to peek out into the corridor at best. It would probably be hard even to get just a fist through it. The windows wouldn't budge either. They were no better than barred prison windows. The bathroom didn't even have a window. The only thing that could get out through there was the water that flowed out if you turned on the tap. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't think of any way out of here. Shut in here like this, I was no more or less than a prisoner. Unless someone came from outside to save me, I wouldn't be able to get out for all eternity. In that case, couldn't I just call for help? Yes, the tiny gap I could make in that door had to exist so that I could call for help. But could I make the words come out? I had tried to call out for help before, but for some reason the words couldn't escape my mouth. I might have made some kind of mistake. I might have just lost my voice in my haste and confusion. I cracked the door open one more time. The warm light of the hallway flowed in, making the darkness of the room stand out all the more. Though I couldn't hear any voices, I did feel something peaceful. I was sure that everyone was in a room at the other end of the hallway, chatting happily about something. If I could just call out, someone would surely come to save me. Holding back some indescribable fear, I tried yelling once more. the result was the same. It was like trying to yell underwater. All I did was get out of breath, unable to call out in the slightest. Even though I could say as much as I wanted if I just grumbled to myself inside the room, whenever I tried to make my voice reach outside, I choked and was unable to say anything. I understood. My body wasn't the only thing imprisoned in this eerie locked room. My voice was as well. Thinking that I could use some other kind of sound to call for help, I tried opening and closing the door violently, making the chain rattle. It did sound as though it was making a noisy clanking sound, but I was sure it was no good. Even the sound was imprisoned within the locked room. No matter how harsh a sound I made, I was certain it would be quieter than a leaf falling by the time it reached the other end of the corridor. Oops. I tried using the hateful chain that sealed the door to make a sound to call for someone, but that only deepened my despair. This chain? That's insane. Even though, just a second ago, it was a stiff chain that looked like it was used to seal a monster away. At some point, it had transformed into a normal chain lock. This changed everything. Now I could just undo it from the inside. I tried to undo the chain, but I couldn't pull it off, the chain not being long enough for that while the door was still open a crack. Of course. Calm down. I swallowed and calmly closed the door. Then, when I saw that the chain had slackened enough, I touched it with my finger to make sure. Well, hey babe, thank you for the sub. Holy shit, that's a whole year, goddamn. That's amazing. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Okay, back to the horror now. When I was little, I hated chains because I could never get them undone right. However, that was a long time ago. I could unfasten them normally now. Anyone could. It was easy. Clink. At that moment, that terrible thought that the demon who had locked me in this room might have been using this as a trap to give me hope and then make me despair even more, finally stopped haunting me. Haunting me, even. The chain lock unfastened, and the chain dangled there right before my eyes. Now, there was no lock sealing this door. Please, don't torment me anymore. Just open normally. Slowly, the door opened. I had closed the door in order to undo the chain, so the warm light from the hallway had been cut off. What if I opened it again and that warm light was gone this time? I was even afraid of that. However, that was just me over-imagining things. Slowly, expanding before my eyes. No, this is normal for a door. As the door let out an annoying creak, the exit from this cursed locked room finally opened. You have a bleeding nose? What? Go fix it. I hope you're okay. I did it. I did it. Even my cry of joy was strangled. But that didn't matter anymore. All that mattered was that I could get out. I poked my head out and looked left and right down the corridor. The warm corridor. I can sense people having fun at the other end. Everyone's right there. Let's go, right now. At that moment, something cold and heartless crushed my throat. It was as though an iron loop had been fastened around my neck and pulled on hard from behind. No, not as though. Without my knowing, at some point, a thick metal collar had been fastened around my neck. When did this happen? And when I turned around, I despaired even more. From the inner side of the door I had just opened, a thick chain extended, which was connected to my collar. I pulled on it, but it didn't even budge. When I shook it, the whole door creaked. What the hell? The chain that connected to my collar was attached to the inner side of the door. Yes, the same heartless chain that had secured the door a short while back had suddenly become a chain holding me in place. That's insane. That's insane. Damn it, what's going on here? I pulled with all my strength, trying to tear the whole door off, but I already knew from repeated experiments that it wouldn't even budge. I was sure this chain would disappear once I went back inside the room, but it would never let me leave it. Though it had appeared to revert to being a normal chain lock, nothing had actually changed. The fact that a chain lock bound me to that room was just as true now as ever. Tears flowing down my face, I pulled with all I had. It was completely useless. No matter what I did, I'd never tear it loose. And I wasn't even permitted to call out for help. I felt a confused anger at how the demon had mercilessly made me think for just an instant that I'd escaped. But no matter how much I yelled, no voice came out, and no one on the other end of the corridor could hear me. Then, I noticed an odd stain on the wall of the corridor. It wasn't a stain. They were letters, traced out by a finger that had been covered in red paint. Those letters, which looked like they had been drawn in blood, answered my biggest question. The chain lock must be set. You may unset it, but it must then be reset. Unless it is set, this exit of yours will be unusable. I instantly understood the meaning of that unsettling message. Then I tried it out and understood completely. When I returned to the room and reset the chain lock, the binding around my neck disappears. When I undo the chain lock again, that heavy feeling around my neck returns. In other words, I cannot escape this room while the chain lock is still unset. But that means all I need to do is set the chain while outside the room. I undid the chain one more time. The weighty collar and chain appeared around my neck again. I stepped out into the corridor and closed the door behind me, leaving only the slightest of cracks. I stuck my hand through that crack, grabbed the dangling chain, and tried to reset it somehow. Damn it. It's so easy to do from the inside, so why is it so hard to do from the outside? The gap needed to be wide if I wanted to manipulate the chain well. However, that made the chain too short to reach. To bring the chain even close to reaching, I had to close the door as much as possible. But doing that meant that there wouldn't be enough of a gap to fit my hand in. Of course, that was perfectly natural. Chain locks are made to be done from the inside. They'd be completely pointless if you could set and unset them from the outside. That's why the length of the chain is specifically chosen, to prevent anyone from setting it or unsetting it from the outside. Maybe I could manage it with some kind of hard and thin tool. If the gap of the door was just a finger's width across, the chain would have enough length to reach. If I could just bend a wire hanger so that it fits through the crack, and work the chain with that... That's right, there's a closet just to the side of the door. Could there be some hangers in there? Also, Vape, I don't know what you mean exactly about being the cabinet flu but not actually sick, but get well soon, I think? I'm also taking this opportunity to take a quick sip of tea. And yeah, I think we're kind of getting some, you know, answers here as to like what is sort of going on here with this locker room. So that's neat. It's all hints though, of course. Oh, you have the day off tomorrow? Nice. And thank you, Cat, for the save reminder. And the hydrate reminder, because I've been treating them as both recently. Alright. Found one. Oh, thank God. A single, cheap-looking hanger, like one you might find in a laundry room, was hanging there. Really? I'm pretty sure that when I last looked a short while ago, nothing like this was in the closet. Who cares? Quickly. I twisted the wire hanger, bending the end with the tip around. The end with the tip around. I formed a loop at the end to grab at things with, making for a sort of burglar's tool. I then dashed out into the corridor again, and closed the door almost as far as it would go. My wrist could never pass through this, but with the door closed this far, the chain should have the extra length to spare. And this crack is large enough for me to stick the hanger through. Now it's just a matter of technique. I'll definitely be able to do it if I try enough times, I'm certain of it. It's harder than it looks. But the chain is long enough. It isn't impossible. I had finally gotten my hands on the one way to escape. It was hard, yes, but it was theoretically possible. If it was possible, then I would be able to get out. I would be able to escape from here. At that moment, I felt a heavy weight on the far side of the door. It felt as though someone inside the room had leaned against the door with their forehead. And she, the witch, had laughed. Then, I felt a powerful and strange force on the wire hanger. Is she trying to grab it away from me? Yeah, right, like hell I'll let go. Like hell I'll let my one key out of here get stolen while my guard's down. Fortunately, I had stuck my wrist through it so that I wouldn't drop it if my hand got tired. You won't be able to snatch this out of my hands. The witch on the other side of the door watched me and laughed once more. Then, I noticed something weird. I looked at my left hand, which I had pressed against the door to hold it in place. And between the fingers of that hand, I could see something red. It was red text. I realized immediately. At some point in time, even more bloody letters had been written on the door, and my left hand had been covering them up. Still fighting against the vice-like strength of the witch beyond the door, I moved my left hand to the side. Where that hand had been, bloody letters had indeed been written. It read as though someone had predicted that I'd struggle this way from the very beginning. A message directly from the witch to me. No matter the method, it is impossible to set or unset the chain lock from the outside. All tricks done from the corridor had been sealed by the red letters. No way. There was suddenly a terrible sound, and the force that had been pulling on the hanger was suddenly released. And when I looked at the hanger that was finally free, I lost all hope. As though it had been hit by the acid of the room's darkness, the tip of the hanger had burnt, and bubbled, and melted away. Now it was pitifully short. It couldn't be used for anything. It would be useless to search for a substitute. All schemes to fasten the chain from the outside had been sealed. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it! I threw the remnants of the wire hanger against the floor, faced the hallway filled with a warm light, and called for help. However, I just choked, unable to speak at all. Everyone's just down the corridor, and everything's peaceful there. I can't hear their voices, but I know. I'm sure they're all having a good time playing cards. Please, someone, notice me. Someone, save me. This time, it wasn't the witch's voice. Oh, I did that laugh super wrong. It was the happy voices of everyone else, which I could hear from the other end of the hallway. Someone, come over here and save me. My God. 2 boats full of red and blue paint crashed in the Indian Ocean today. All of the crew members are marooned. Thank you, babe. I thought maroon was red. I was so confused. Wouldn't that just make purple? Like, I get the joke, just not the colors. Sorry, but I'm out. George slammed his last card down, ending the game with his victory once again. I guess it's kind of dark purple, maybe. It's like reddish purple, maybe. I haven't thought about maroon in a while. Everyone gasped in unison. The cousins' room was filled with laughter as they enjoyed their card game. Whoa, so you really did have it, George Aniki. Damn you, 6 of spades. Your 8 of diamonds was pretty nasty too. I was so close. You're incredible, George Oni-chan. You won again. Yep, looks like we've won again. Maria couldn't really hold her own in an all-out battle. So she had teamed up with George, which is why she was celebrating his victory. Gah. Utter defeat. Kanon winced and let his cards drop to the table. The game of sevens that Kanon and the cousins had been playing had been a fierce battle. Normally, they would take things easy since Maria was there, so this sort of a game was rare. Kanon had started taking the game seriously, unwilling to lose. So George and Balor had responded, and the battle had grown fierce. Unlike Balor, who was carefree enough to enjoy it whether he won or lost, Kanon's mood changed drastically with every victory and defeat. It was less of a dislike for losing and more that he just wasn't used to playing games. He wasn't used to the idea that you win some, you lose some. So even a loss in a game played for fun was something he took very seriously. Since he had resolved to win and had unfortunately challenged the veteran players George and Balor, the result was plain to see. As Kanon slumped his shoulders, Jessica slapped him on the back. Hey, you almost had it. But man, I love this stuff. Fighting all out. Whether I go all out or not, it's all meaningless if I lose in the end. Are you kidding me? If you really give it your all, you can feel good about yourself even if you lose. If you lose after hardly trying, then you feel like grumbling and complaining about how you'd have won if you'd taken it seriously, right? That was a hard sentence somehow. That's right. People who really give it their all never complain. Those guys are always cheery no matter what the result. That's right. And those people are scarier than anyone else. They always learn something from their experience and grow. I feel like this is a gross generalization of people in general, but okay guys, okay. They are all teenagers. Very true. I was a coward, so I could never learn anything. So even now, I'm yet to mature. I am furniture, so it is useless to dream. Because he had rigidly believed that, he had distanced himself from everything and shut himself away. However, during that time, Shannon had undergone many life adventures, and now her hand rested on the door separating furniture and humans. The old Kanon would only have seen this card game as a way to pass the time. However, the new Kanon was now capable of gaining something new from this experience. That could probably be called growth. Furniture does nothing but rot with the passage of time. Being able to grow is a privilege given only to humans. Thanks for playing with us. You probably have work to do, like filling in the log, right? Seriously, thanks for going along with us. Not at all. I had fun too. Or perhaps I should say, I now understand why doing things like that is fun. Thank you very much for forcing me to come. Let's challenge ourselves more and more. And let's go and find more and more things you didn't know about. So about what we were talking about, do you want to try like guitar? I mean, it's not like you have to or anything, but it must be very difficult. Yeah, I guess. But I'll do a good job teaching you, and I'll even practice with you. Well, I guess I'm not that much of an expert myself. At first, Kanon was scared of touching a musical instrument for the first time in his life, certain that he would make a complete fool of himself. He knew that screwing up like that would make him feel bad. However, Kanon was starting to learn. It's only natural that I'll be bad when I first start. If I just try to run away from that, I'll never learn a thing for all eternity. I'll never achieve anything. Yep. Isn't that why people love it when they feel themselves improving? Even I sucked at making my left and right hands move at the same time when I first started. But I slowly got the knack of it, and it started to feel more and more natural. I'd like to reach that level too. If one path to that goal is playing music with you, lady, I would love to do that with you. Really? Yes. I'm sure I'll be horrible when I first start, and I might even make you lose hope in me at times. But if I've given it my all, I can take failure in my stride. That's what I learned from you all just now. You're embarrassing me. Now, I love you even more, milady. Because I averted my eyes for so long, even though you shone like the sun. I never noticed you when you were right there next to me. Then I'd better work even harder to make you love me even more. Get a room, you say, but they, specifically left the room for this. But also, yes, get a room. Like, there's a whole audience here, myself included. Kanon's serious and competitive words were more than enough to make Jessica shy. However, Kanon's expression unexpectedly clouded. Milady, the reason I love you is so clear. That's why I can't bear not knowing. Not knowing what? Why you would start to like me. Unlike you, I do not shine in any sense. Even now, I'm just clinging to your back as you shine the way. I can't think of any reason why you would like a wretch like me. That's not true, okay? There are all kinds of good things about you, Kano-kun. Let me swallow my pride and ask. What about me made you like me, milady? Kanon hung his head. He had never learned anything, so he had never been able to take the lead with her. It made him sad and frustrated that he had always been the one-sided recipient of her affection, and could do nothing but respond to it. Jessica was lost for words. After all, compared to the reason that Kanon had fallen for Jessica, Jessica's reason was a lot more vague. She had listened to Shannon talk about her love with George, and at school, she and her friends always talked about relationships with boys. There was nothing strange about a girl fascinated by the idea of romance developing an interest in a nearby member of the opposite sex. However, if she were to put that into words, she would be misinterpreted as saying that any nearby boy would have done just as well. However, if nothing else, she knew what she felt at this moment. She really did love Kanon, and she truly wanted a relationship with him. They might end up together as a result, or they might not. But whatever the outcome, she could accept it as long as she held nothing back. That allowed her to stay true to her feelings, which she knew she felt right now, and act on them seriously. However, she couldn't find the right words to tell Kanon this. When Kanon saw Jessica bite her lower lip in frustration, he finally realized. I'm such a fool. Huh? What about me do you like? That very question is foolish. It's proof that I'm not serious about myself and that I haven't been able to understand myself. It's horrible of me to try and make you say it for me. That's not true. After all, it's the first question any girl would like to ask after being given a love confession. The question, what part of me do you like? It was immature of me to ask you that. How could anyone like someone so immature? Kanon, deep breaths. Calm down. It'll be okay. Wait, that's not... Jessica panicked, trying desperately to explain how she felt. However, Kanon was calm. Are you? Are you though? And then he spoke. In that case, I want you to grow to love me, the way I already love you. I've decided to change myself so that can happen. I can't possibly hope for you to love me the way I am. But someday, no matter what. Okay. Yeah. I'm absolutely sure you'll become a wonderful person, Kanon-kun. A guy so cool I can't keep my eyes off you. Until then, I'll stick by you all the way. We have all the time in the world. Unfortunately, there isn't that much time left. Hold on. What about time? When I talk about furniture, it usually saddens you. But this is something I must talk to you about. And it is also something I must fight for, with all my soul. What are you talking about? I don't want to hear any more of that I'm furniture so I can't fall in love talk. You're human, not furniture. I understand. That's why I intend to become human. But at the moment, I am furniture. Just do it then. Become human. The witch taught me once. A single element of this world. She said it was love. It's something that humans born into this world can take for granted. However, it is not something that those not from this world, who are born as furniture, can take for granted. In order to gain it for themselves, they must have magic, or a miracle. In the same way that Naesan and George-sama would never have ended up as they have without borrowing the power of that golden butterfly brooch. I don't really get this last part. What is it that you do not understand? Let me hear it. Since this game began, a large portion of the time has been spent on Shannon and Kanon's determination to fall in love. I have no problem with interpreting that as a story of growth and teenage determination for a girl and boy who call themselves furniture. However, one of the assumptions they make feels really out of place to me. Why is magic necessary? Is that it? Both Shannon and Kanon. No, I'll purposely refer to them as furniture. The furniture has always claimed that there cannot be love between furniture and humans. That's where the magic of the golden butterfly brooch came into play. It was the miraculous result of that magic that love was established between Shannon and George Oni-chan. That's what they claim. Surely it would not be a stretch if they thought that forbidden love across class boundaries could never bear fruit without a miracle of magic. Oh, I agree. Shannon and Kanon are both servants in love with members of the Ushiromiyas family. So it makes perfect sense to me that they might disparage themselves as furniture while suffering from their forbidden love. And then what is it that does not make sense to you? Without the power of magic once more, marriage will be impossible. Shannon and Connell both seem to share that view. That's the part I just can't understand. After meeting in secret for quite some time, George and Shannon had finally gotten engaged. Both were fully prepared for it emotionally. And though there would be some trouble with the relatives, it had gotten to the point where it would probably be impossible for anyone to prevent their marriage. Trying to stand between two who wish to be wed is as foolish as standing in the path of an arrow in flight and trying to catch it. Exactly. George Oni-chan has sworn to protect his partner for the rest of their lives and no longer fears opposition or disinheritance from his parents. On the contrary, he even considers them to be the perfect tests to demonstrate his love for her. In other words, they will be married no matter what. No one can stop them. And they have both consented to the engagement. No one can stop them or impede them. Trying to break apart lovers is a foolhardy venture. Yeah. And that's what's strange. There's no need for magic. If George and Shannon had wanted Ava's approval for their engagement, then magic really might have been necessary. After all, Ava had forbidden his relationship with her. No matter how much George spoke on Shannon's behalf, the chances of Ava being convinced were virtually zero. If that were the case, it would be understandable if they wanted a magical miracle to make Ava acknowledge their engagement. But George Oni-chan has already sworn to it. He doesn't care whether his parents approve of the engagement or not. Yeah, there's nothing standing in the way of their engagement. And Shannon should know that well herself. So why is it that now, on this night where the proposal went so smoothly, she's still praying for a miracle of magic? That is why you act first and ask for forgiveness later. Without such a miracle, she will not have the right to marry, is what the furniture claim. And there you go. It means that Shannon has accepted George's proposal, but she knows that there's still some kind of obstacle remaining that can't be overcome without a magical miracle. And that obstacle isn't something that they can overcome by their own efforts. That's why they need this miracle called magic. Why do they need magic? If two people love each other, what other miracle could they possibly need to be together? I see. Fetherine listened to Anja's interpretation, smiling in a satisfied way. Apparently, she had already reached that conclusion and was enjoying watching Anja finally manage to do the same. And that same question applies to Kanon as well. The love between him and Jessica Onechan has just begun, but their emotions are pure. There's nothing standing in their way. They were already in a loving relationship even without the golden butterfly brooch. It'd be no surprise if the relationship they've started lasts for years and eventually results in marriage. There's nothing standing in their way either. As long as they do not seek approval from Kraus and Natsuhi, it seems that they will not need a magical miracle either. Exactly. Kanon watched how Shannon lived and changed his own way of life. Then, he let his true feelings be known and started a relationship with Jessica Onechan. There's no need for magic anymore. If it were a one-sided love, then he might need a love charm or something. But their feelings are already mutual. They've already communicated their intentions to one another. So, why do they need a miracle on top of that? Both pieces of furniture are in relationships of mutual love. There shouldn't be any need for a miracle any longer. So why do they still desire a miracle of magic? And on top of that, the single brooch is portrayed as bestowing only a single miracle. It feels almost as though Shannon is hesitating because if she uses up that miracle for herself, Kanon's chances at love will be automatically sealed away for eternity. So the question is this: why is furniture not allowed to love? So, you ask why love is not permitted without the miracle known as magic. And also, there's that golden butterfly brooch that can allow the lamenting furniture to have the love they insisted they were incapable of. Just what on earth is that? Of course, it is a crystallization of magic. However, like most magics, it can be burnt by the anti-magic toxin. So, it can only have an effect for those who believe in magic and witches. Correct. So, Shannon, who was capable of interacting with me, was able to make use of its benefits. However, if Shannon had dropped it in a sandy beach and someone who knew nothing picked it up, if that person was shrouded in the anti-magic toxin, they wouldn't be able to make use of the brooch's magic power. Precisely. A witch's magical items often lose their power if they are not handed over directly. However, in just the same way that a witch can manifest herself, if her existence is acknowledged by a great many humans and the anti-magic toxin disappears, the power of that magical item can also be preserved if it is believed in by a great many people. That's ironic. No matter what kind of magic we witches give out, everything depends on whether the human we give it to can accept it. I have heard that the same goes for medicine. Even with the exact same medicine, humans who know the medicine's effect experience it to a greater degree. Oh, I think I understand. When taking cold medicine, I've gotten the feeling that it's more effective when you read the description on the bottle. As she listened, Beato thought that magic sounded a bit like a charm. When most humans think of magic, they think of incredible miracles being performed one after another in front of a crowd. However, this true magic that the older sister spoke of sounded almost like a charm, something that had no effect if the person using it didn't believe. Shannon's heart was captured by George bit by bit as he grew by leaps and bounds. However, she had given up, thinking that one of lower status such as herself would never find love with him. That was when Beatrice had given her the golden butterfly brooch and encouraged her. Giving up means that you have zero chance of success. But if, with the power of magic, you think there just might be some chance of your wish coming true, the probability then rises to something greater than zero at the very least. Zero remains zero forever, but if even a faint probability were to exist, it would be no exaggeration to say that an impossible miracle had occurred, compared to the time when the probability was zero. Humans can use magic to take resignation, by which they themselves make the probability of success zero. To take resignation, by which they themselves make the probability of success zero and cancel it out. When a human does not give up, though their chances of success may be small, those chances do exist. And the stronger their belief, the more the odds rise. It was easy to imagine that Shannon had made earnest wishes upon the brooch, believed in its effect, and made many little efforts to get George to like her. The power of belief becomes magic. And those who make others believe are witches. Those who make others believe are witches. That's an interesting way to put it. If you think about it, it's true. Let's say a witch steps out into a spotlight, waves her staff in front of a crowd of onlookers, and makes a rabbit appear out of thin air. The many people who see it will surely think that it was sleight of hand. They might wonder at how it was accomplished, but they would be sure that it wasn't magic, and they would applaud the splendid trick that it appeared to be magic. But what if? What if they conducted a sacred ceremony inside a great ancient temple in front of a crowd of believers, culminating in the exact same thing? Would any of the people there think that was sleight of hand? In fact, in the ancient past, when magic tricks as a form of entertainment didn't even exist, and divine spirits were worshipped, this would doubtlessly have been a miracle of magic. In that case, would this count as magic? Oh? Will the witch who cannot use magic now perform it for the first time? Here I have an empty teacup. There's nothing inside it. It is empty. Go on. I will take this cup, turn it like this, and place it upside down on the table. And then, what next? Let's both close our eyes and chant the incantation. It was the same magic that had been used to give Maria candies. Beato the Elder grinned and closed her eyes. When she saw this, Beato slowly chanted the incantation. Come, try to remember what was inside the cup. Come, try to remember what was inside the cup. As she chanted, Beata slowly opened her eyes to and made sure that the older sister was repeating her with her eyes closed. Then, a single gold butterfly appeared out of nowhere, fluttered down onto the overturned cup, and scattered away in a spray of gold. May I open my eyes now? Yes. Please open your eyes and inspect the contents of the cup. Well now, let us see how well your first bit of magic has worked. Taking her time and dragging out the suspense a little, the older sister lifted the cup. Aha! How is it? When the cup was lifted up, there lay a single golden rose petal. Does this count as magic? Yes, it most certainly does. You used magic to create a golden flower petal inside an overturned cup. It was a splendid bit of magic. Without love, it cannot be seen. That much I understand. It may be viewed as a trick. It may also be believed to be magic. It all depends upon the toxin of the individual. Then again, while this can explain some of the magic that's been used in the past, it can't explain everything. To get back to the point, none of this stuff about believing in magic and charms can answer the question. What is the golden butterfly brooch that can allow the lamenting furniture to have the love they insisted they were incapable of? It's not enough for an answer. To take what we heard from the two Beatas at face value, would it not make sense to consider that magic has the power to cancel out the furniture's resignation? Why mustn't furniture fall in love? Why is the power of the magic brooch necessary? Yeah, It does seem at a glance as though what you and the Beatos are saying provides an answer, though a vague one. However, let me say this as a reader. I can't accept this as you've presented it. You cannot accept it, you say. The fate that those pieces of furniture were fighting to overturn was something much more immense than this would allow for. I doubt they could reform their way of thinking just because they were given a charm for making relationships. It's true that the brooch gave Shannon the chance she needed to get together with Giorgio Nichan. But after that, she said she wanted to deepen their relationship without borrowing the power of magic, and she even tried to give the brooch back to Beato. She put the miracle of magic behind her at that point. In that case, why is she once again in need of its power? Well now. Well now, well now. Perhaps there is no way to say it except that love and marriage are two very different things. Featherine laughed lightly. She had probably formed a theory of her own and was laughing at Anje, who hadn't reached it yet. Let me hear it. What's your view? I'd like to keep that to myself for just a while longer. And of course, watching you form doubts and let your mind race is one of the joys of being read aloud to. If I gave you my views, you would accept them and stop thinking. Then having you read aloud would be no fun. So, you're having me read a mystery novel you already know the answer to, just so you can enjoy watching me blunder about? Well, I am the witch of theater going. If you wish to laugh at my bad taste, please do not hold back, my Miko. Wahaha. I understand that a part of magic is created by a believing heart, and that magic probably permeates deep into the world of us humans as well. However, though it does permeate so far, the power that dwells within magic is small. Visiting a shrine before an important exam to pray that you'll pass is something that many people do. However, not many people will actually credit that visit as the reason for their success. Praying like this contains no power except as a calming influence. In love, where even a small chance and a little bit of courage can cause a major change, this power might cause a massive upheaval. However, would the insurmountable fate that those pieces of furniture claim to be in the middle of really change because of something like that? I think that in the past, the magical power of the brooch as it joined Shannon and George was little more than a good luck charm. However, at this point, the magical power that the pieces of furniture are seeking for the brooch, praying for their love to succeed, is not something as vague as a charm. It feels much stronger, like a whole different interpretation of magic. If you believe in sleight of hand, it becomes magic. But that's no more than a child's trick. And that only explains one part of magic. They are hoping for something. They're hoping for something with much, much more power. For true magic, not a sleight of hand. You think the brooch was gonna, stave off divorce and that they're gonna be doomed otherwise? That's one potential theory. And if I recall correctly, that is actually not the name of any of the songs. But it is the name of this chapter, I think. So then, just what kind of magic are the pieces of furniture expecting from that brooch? Yeah, like magic of a different interpretation. Current chapter. A golden butterfly brooch? The Golden Witch Beatrice gave a magic charm to Shannon in exchange for smashing a mirror. A charm that makes love succeed. That's what this is. From his pocket, Conan pulled a wing of a gold butterfly. Though it was just a single wing, it was easy to tell from its distinctive shape that it had originally been a part of something with a butterfly motif. The magic of this brooch gave Shannon the chance she needed to start her relationship with George-sama. However, before that magic was fully realized, she left it to me. So, thanks to the power of this brooch, I gained your affection, milady. That's not true. I started liking you because of my own honest feelings. Thank you very much. You are human, so you do not believe in witches or magic. It's only natural. Jesus, Conan. You just basically said thanks, but you're wrong. About your own feelings. But kinda rude. I like him. Kinda rude, though. However, as furniture created by magic, my very existence here is proof that the miracle of magic exists. Sorry, what are you talking about? Jessica tried her hardest to grasp what Conan was trying to say. However, she couldn't understand it and had to ask him to repeat it with a bitter smile. Both Shannon and I need magic to succeed in love. The key for that is this brooch. I stepped on it and crushed it, so we each have one part. The brooch had lost its power when it was split in half. However, if it was ever joined together again, its magic would be revived. It would revive the miraculous power that could join furniture and a human together. However, a single brooch can only grant one person's wish. Only one of us furniture can be joined by this single brooch. It was the single spark of love that the old Beatrice with her shrill laugh had sown on a day long ago. That Beatrice had likened humans who were tormented by this spark to ripe fruit and had taken... That Beatrice had likened humans who were tormented by this spark to ripe fruit and taken evil pleasure in their suffering. However, the magic infused with this spark was real. It was the only crystallization of magic that the Golden Witch Beatrice ever left in this world. Its shine grew brighter. Huh? What the? It's okay. But please don't look right at it. It'll blind you. It grew more brilliant still, shining like the sun. Jessica didn't need Conan to tell her to put her hands over her eyes. As the light grew stronger, a sound like the roaring of the wind or the tide also grew in intensity. It already drowned out the sound of the wind and rain outside. Jessica could no longer even stand, and she crouched on the floor. It was a flood of sound and light, and until it withdrew, Jessica could do nothing but moan. Come on, it's okay now. Let's hurry. I hope Father likes sweet foods. Oh, yes, he does like them. In fact, he seems to enjoy eating pretty much anything. After waiting for the master of the study to be out, Beato and Kumasawa entered the study. Then, they quickly tidied away the books on the desk, set down the basket they had brought there, and began spreading out the contents. Inside were several cute cookies cut out in a butterfly shape. They set out a cute plate and neatly decorated it with the cookies. It was the kind of slight adornment that the person eating wasn't likely to even notice. The whole setup was filled with that sort of feeling. You spare no efforts for the sake of your beloved father. This is all I'm permitted to do right now. To think that I would give Battler cookies. Why should I, the ruler of the night, do so much for a guest who comes so rarely? Then, the study door swung violently open. It was Battler, with Genji by his side. Battler's eyes went wide for a second when he saw Beato there, but his expression quickly went blank again. What are you doing here? Father, please excuse me. I didn't come here to get in the way of your important game. How were you able to get in here? Wasn't this room locked? My apologies. I lent them a key because they wished to surprise you with a gift. See, have a look. Beatrice-sama baked these cookies with all her soul, hoping that you would enjoy them. Kumasawa-san and Genji-san taught me. I never knew Genji-san was so good at baking cookies. He hasn't done it much of late, but Genji-san used to cook many things long ago. He was especially good with sweets. Cookies? Yes. It's a gift for you, Father. I sincerely pray for your victory in this important match. Battler looked at the plate on the study desk that was piled up with beautiful cookies, and the message card of encouragement lying next to it, and his face twisted with a complex expression, which might have had traces of both sadness and anger contained within it. My lord. In not so many words, Genji prompted him to consider giving Beato's efforts some kind of acknowledgement. Battler understood. He had no reason to respond to this kindness with displeasure. However, even though he understood that logically, all he could do was give a small, exasperated sigh. Thank you. I'm very grateful. But I don't like sweets. Please take it away. My lord. Don't make me say the same thing again. Please clean it up and take it away. My lord, couldn't you try just one bite? Beatrice-sama worked hard to make them for your sake. I'm grateful for the sentiment. I'm in the middle of a very important game right now. Important to both me and Beato. And it will be our last. So please, try not to trouble me any more than necessary. That's just too sad for her. I'm glad that you're grateful for her feelings, but can't you show it by taking just one little bite? Father. Beato looked at Battler sadly. Battler hung his head to avoid her gaze. The expression on his face was even more pain than any he had shown Beato before. Kumasawa, clean this up and take it away. My lord! Kumasawa implored Battler to listen, but he turned his back to her. My apologies. Let's clean this up, Kumasawa-san. I won't allow it. By making this gift, Beatrice-sama gave it her all to try and support you in your important game in the only way she could. To tell her to take it away without eating a bite yourself. How can you trifle with a woman so? Kumasawa. If you call yourself a man, you should at least try a bite when a woman makes you a handmade snack. If you truly intend to trample on this woman's feelings, I promise you this. I will not back down even if it kills me. No, I won't. Kumasawa-san, you've done enough for me already. I won't allow it. My lord, do you think there might be poison inside them? Yeah. If Beato ever came to give me cookies, of course I'd think that she'd put some kind of crazy poison in them. She asked me if I thought there'd be poison in these. How could anyone ever think that cookies like these, piled up in such a neat and cute way, could possibly have something bizarre hidden inside? And who could possibly believe that Beato would make something like this? Because of that, Battler couldn't bear to look at Beato's innocent reaction, which was completely free from any malicious thoughts of slipping poison into the cookies. This is the hill that Kumasawa dies on. Cookies. I'm not gonna say anything. Beato quietly started to clean up. Every now and then, she sniffled. Kumasawa had been glaring at Battler continuously, but she now gave a small sigh and helped Beato clean up. However, the hardness didn't disappear from her expression. My apologies, Father. Please excuse me. Don't call me that. Don't call me Father. Beato never once called me that. Yes, as you wish. My apologies. Hanging her head so low that her chin touched her chest, Beato hurried out of the study. After giving Battler a look, Kumasawa chased after her. She shut the door a bit violently, and the footsteps of the pair rapidly disappeared off into the distance. may be his little sister, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. If you were anyone other than Beato, you'd think of him as a true enemy of women. Is that it? I don't have a clue why Oni-chan and Beato act so friendly together. Right now, I think of Beato as our greatest enemy, the one we must defeat. Still, even so, as a woman, I can't say I like Oni-chan's reaction. Though I can understand Balor's feelings a little. What a sad state of affairs. I still don't understand what kind of bad blood or connection there was between them. However, Oni-chan probably views Beato as a friendly adversary, if not something more. Oni-chan's reason for defeating Beato isn't to destroy an enemy out of hatred. It feels like he wants to give a sincere answer to our questions. Yes, I can't deny the fact that their fight isn't based on hatred, but on a stronger emotion. And on top of that, Beato really is something, to remain dedicated to Oni-chan even after being treated so coldly. I agree with the other, older sister Beatrice. I can't understand why she's so dedicated to Oni-chan. And, though it may take us 1,000 years, that single factor that you do not understand must be passed on to the Golden Witch Beatrice we know so well. Yes, I understand that. Knowing this Beato leads to knowing this Beato leads to knowing the Beato who is to come. It may explain the greatest piece in this crazy game, if not the game board itself. Such a mysterious witch. Though she said those words, Featherine wore a confident smile on her face. Excuse me. Her sarcastic confidence, as though she already knew the answer, was unchanged. Beatrice, I want to ask you something. Yes? What would you like to know, Aji-san? Beato, who had been reading a fragment book in the shadows of the study, jumped when Anji called out to her. Why do you call Ushiromiyas Battler father? Because he created the piece that I am. In that case, why are you so dedicated to Ushiromiyas Battler? Is there some rule that pieces must obey the creator who made them? There is no such rule. Pieces are tools, like a knife. If the game master uses them well, they can be quite useful. However, if you use them incorrectly, they can hurt you as well. Whether the tool is used as a tool or a weapon, that has nothing to do with the tool's own will. It is merely the result. In that case, why are you so dedicated towards Oni-chan? It's almost as though that's your purpose as a piece. Yes, that is the purpose for which I was born. Did Oni-chan, the one who gave birth to you, give you that purpose? You have that wrong. Balor merely set a piece with that role on the board as the game master. The one who gave birth to this piece was the first game master and the one who created this game, Beatrice herself. This is getting confusing. In other words, you keep calling Oni-chan father, but he's not actually your father. You're just calling him that affectionately, because you feel that you have to dedicate yourself to him. Yes, I think that's true. Father was the one who placed me on the game board. If he hadn't, my piece would never have had a turn. So the reason I exist here right now, and the reason I am able to devote myself to my purpose, is all thanks to Father. I see. So that's why it makes sense for you to call him father. In that case, who told you to devote yourself to Oni-chan? Oh, right, that's the first game master, Beato herself. This is so confusing. You wish to ask her why she must serve Ushiromiyas Battler, correct? However, she cannot give you that answer. She was given nothing but the purpose itself. Only the person who gave her that purpose knows the reasons for which they did so. I see. Consider that well, child of man, right? So, that means you already have an idea and you're laughing at my confusion. You really are just perfect for my Miko. I will do anything for Father. My existence will bring Father happiness. That is my greatest pleasure. And at that point, Beato hesitated. What? And what? Yes. And if I could one day have Father acknowledge my efforts, there would be no greater happiness for me. What the hell? If you only wanted to serve him, I'd say you're just another piece of the witch's furniture. But you want him to acknowledge your efforts? That's less like furniture and more like... Anya stopped mid-sentence. That's less like furniture, and more like you're just a girl who loves Oni-chan. I don't get it. The guiding force behind this Beato's actions is that of a girl who adores Oni-chan. But then, what would that make her? If she liked Oni-chan, then she should have adored him and done things for him herself. Why would she create a piece of herself, a separate entity, to do it? This way, even if she does attract Oni-chan's attention, it will be towards the piece version of herself, not the creator who made that piece. If I ever fall in love with someone, I'll probably want to do things for them. But of course, I would want to do those things myself. After all, I would want him to notice me. This love is destined to go virtually unrewarded. No matter how devoted she is, she will never get anything out of it. And she's done this out of her own free will. Beato's behavior looks no different from that of an average girl in love. She's devotedly doing all she can for him, dreaming that her kindness will eventually be acknowledged. But why would Beato create a piece like this? Is putting it in terms of romance a bit too confusing? Then let's try using food as an example. It's as pointless as creating a piece to eat food for you. No matter how much food your piece eats on your behalf, you won't get any less hungry, right? You are the one who wants to eat. There's no reason for having a piece do that in your place. For most jobs in the world, you can get someone else to do it for you. However, with love and food alone, there can never be any meaning in letting another person do it in your place. That's right. This Beato was created as a piece, for an impossible reason. Though at a glance, she looks just like a normal girl. The more I learn about her, the less I understand. Like an imaginary number. Father hates it when I call him father, and the me that father desires didn't call him by that name either. Right. The former you spoke to everyone without even using honorifics. However, Simply possessing that knowledge doesn't mean I can refer to Father quite that informally. I'd like to do my best and make a start by calling him Battler-san. I'm surprised you haven't gotten discouraged after being treated so coldly. No. Battler-san is in the middle of an important game right now. His opponent is the formidable Lady Erica, piece of the great Lady Burncastle. I stepped in at a delicate moment in his game, and just as it was starting to reach the critical part, and called Battler-san by that name that he doesn't want to hear. So it's no surprise that he was in a bad mood. Apparently, Beato still wanted to devote herself to Battler, even after being treated in such a cold manner. Though to an outsider, it just looks as though she's being snubbed. It doesn't faze her at all. It truly is the blindness of a girl in love. Or is it that I can't see because I have no love? At times, love can make the invisible visible. Beato once again immersed herself in the fragment book that told of her former self. She was trying to find something about the Beato that Battler desired. I just shrugged as though saying, well, I don't get it. Featherine laughed when she saw this, and quipped that an innocent young woman could never understand. Anja grumbled something back unhappily. Their interactions seemed to have no effect whatsoever on Beato as she sat in the shadows of the library. And that's where I'm going to have to call it for the night. Because that's where I have to call it for the night. Yeah. Yep. We're, honestly, that whole that whole section, there was a lot there. I mean a lot. Wow. So much going on there. I'm just starting up some background music. There are a great many hints there. My god. And because like they spell some of it out, but there's some subtle stuff in there too, and yeah. If you really kind of comb through that, you're gonna, at some point, you know, maybe if you've been paying a lot of attention, it'll click. If not, that's cool too, because when I was reading this the first time, I had no idea. It didn't start clicking for me until 7, I think. Because I wasn't really thinking about it. But you know, if you've really been trying to like theorize and stuff, I think there's a lot to work with in this specific episode. So yeah, it was a good one. Next one will be good too. And I think the week after that we get into some real juicy stuff. And by juicy I mean bloody. But also like, you know, narratively very important. So yeah. Next week after that, good stuff, great things ahead. Alright. Haha! You notice that the stakes relate to the character's sins. Good, good call. Yep. It's not always like super duper one-to-one, but there's absolutely a lot of overlap there. It is definitely like on purpose meaningful. That's yeah. Nice find. The Nunja one is the most confusing. Yeah, it's, you know, there's only so many people and so many stakes. And to be fair, that, you know, the sins and stuff that these are related to are quite complex too. So there's a wriggle room. But yeah, we may run into some more stakes at some point. I can neither confirm or deny that, but we'll see. And I'm probably gonna be back on Monday. I don't know for sure yet. Mostly because this monitor thing is bumming me out a little bit. And it's hard to do art streams without the double monitor. Because then I can't alt-tab, etc. Oh boy, that was loud. At the very least, back on Wednesday as always. Because, you know, we've been on a roll. And I don't want to break the streak. But also, like, of course I'm gonna be here again. So thank you to all of you for watching. I really appreciate it. Whether you're, you know, in the chat, or lurking, or watching a mod. If it's like 2 years from now, hi from the past, I hope the future's good. Especially since, you know, we just had New Year's and stuff. I hope the pandemic is gone. Is the pandemic gone? If not, y'all fucked up. Just saying. And yeah, have a good night. Sleep well. See you next time. Thank you again so much, and bye-bye.